So no event like this is really complete without hearing from survivors themselves. And as Dr. Thompson mentioned, we are very fortunate enough that we have individuals here this evening who are willing to tell their personal stories. So I'll ask them to come up. When I see our survivors in our clinics on a daily basis, it's really three words that come to mind: courage, resilience, and generosity of spirit. And I think after you hear from these individuals, you'll actually understand what I mean. So Shawn Tesser is a producer for the show Inside the Actors Studio and has been treated for breast cancer. And under the supervision of her doctor, she has been an active participant with Memorial Sloan Kettering's FRED team. Talk about giving back again. Denise Bing is a 5-year ovarian cancer survivor and works here at Memorial as a research study assistant. And so these are real challenges for someone who's not only been diagnosed and treated for cancer, but really works on a day-to-day basis with other cancer patients. Richard Park is a managing director in the investment banking division at Deutsche Bank. He was diagnosed with late-stage thyroid cancer in 2010 and has been cancer-free for 4 years. He is also an active participant in one of our events, the Cycle for Survival. So please join me in welcoming our speakers this evening.
Hi, I'm Shawn. 4 years ago, I came to this event. It was close enough to my own breast cancer diagnosis, a very big surgery, and a long hospital stay that I was definitely shell-shocked. It's called the Survivorship Celebration, but under my clothes, I was heavily bandaged. I had months of treatment and healing ahead of me, so I questioned myself. Am I a survivor yet? Should I even be here? I wasn't sure. There is no how-to when it comes to cancer, and a big part of me was lost. I wrote down a list of everything that scared me, and one by one I got through them. Stuff like genetic testing, second and third opinions from doctors and surgeons, a mastectomy, and a complicated reconstruction. Then I came here, and people shared their personal stories. They were smiling, strong, and powerful. That definitely changed my life. I couldn't control the diagnosis, but I can choose how to face it, head on and with humor. Later that fall, I was on the sidelines of the New York City Marathon, which I had run years before, although my long-distance days of running were behind me. That's just too hard. In fact, when I got up that morning, I really didn't have the energy to go cheer on my friends who were running in my honor. Chemotherapy had wiped me out. I was still healing, and then my eyelashes all fell out. So despite my best efforts, I was not feeling very good about myself. Then the unexpected happened, the collective energy of thousands of runners pushing to do their best, the spectators cheering them on, and I heard a voice in my head saying, I want this, I need this. Then I found out about Fred's team, a group where runners commit to fundraising for cancer research here at Sloan Kettering, and the voice got louder, I'm doing this. Step by step, I gained endurance. I began to heal inside and out. Running became a place for me to process my emotions, calm anxiety, visualize, connect, transform, overcome, meditate, push myself, find joy, pretend to be a badass, you name it. Cancer took so much, and this was one way to reclaim it. I was empowered. On November 6, 2011, I crossed the finish line of the New York City Marathon. I was strong and smiling. To borrow a page from Shannon Miller's playbook, I stuck the finish. I have a picture. I did one of these. It wasn't bad. It was a symbolic new beginning that I created for myself. Then just 9 days later, I had a PET scan that I expected to be routine, but instead it showed abnormalities, led to weeks of testing and a new diagnosis. My breast cancer had spread to my bones. I was stunned. Metastatic breast cancer was never a possibility on my list, and now there was no way for me to take it off. That crash was steep and hard, and there's no downplaying the devastation and confusion I felt. I was heartbroken and terrified. I didn't want to stay down. I remembered something that my coach, Jeff Rochford, said during training. The marathon really begins at mile 20, because those first 20 are so easy. I realized that it was mile 20 for me. It was time for me to use everything that I'd learned about strength, resilience, capability, and passion. I had the desire to keep going and dig deep, right through all the challenges. There's so much I'm still trying to accomplish. I had to try. And I wasn't alone. I had the love of my family, close friends, and trusted relationships already established with my amazing team here at Sloan Kettering. Many of you are here, and I'm so grateful. I started a new drug protocol, had surgery, and I'm happy to say that by the end of July 2012, I was in remission. I've stayed there ever since. I thought a lot about what kept me feeling whole and really alive, and it was clear that running was a way to keep moving forward. And marathon runner sounded a whole lot better in my head than cancer patient, although I'm still learning to accept both. Since then, I've finished 2 more marathons, 1 each year. Last November, running in New York was one of the best days of my life. I cried a couple of times along the course, but they were tears of joy. There aren't many opportunities in life to take stock of how far you've come in such a visceral way, and to feel it all at once, mind, body, and spirit, is a heady experience. Fundraising has become a great source of motivation and purpose for me to keep on this path. All of the money raised goes directly to my oncologist, Dr. Shanu Modi, and her colleagues for breast cancer research. Dr. Modi is one of my biggest supporters. I'm in awe of her, the dedication to her patients, the life-saving research she's involved with. She's here today. I thank her all the time, but I never get the chance to do it publicly. Thank you, Dr. Modi. To have you by my side through everything means the world to me. In preparing for this event, I reflected on what running means to me as a survivor. It's not about running or the finish line. It's about living. I run because I can. It's helped me to try and stay present in each moment, to have gratitude, to embrace my vulnerability, to enjoy the journey. You can't worry about what might happen at mile 18 if you haven't gotten to the first 10 yet. You have to take each mile at a time. And when I'm thinking about my cancer journey, I try to remember this. It's all a process. Because I still don't know how to have cancer. I really don't. I do know for sure that I have come a long way. I'm lucky. And of course, I'm a survivor. That and a whole lot more. So are all of you. I have one final thought. Runners are known for their mantras, little bits of inspiration to help get through the tougher miles. And I have many mantras that I use during those times when I'm feeling overwhelmed or stuck. And this one I say to myself often: run your race, live your life. Yes, you can. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm very happy to be here. I'm happy to have been asked to be here. I'm not a public speaker, but I said I'd give it a shot. I said nobody's going to throw tomatoes at me, so I said I think I'm pretty safe here, and it is a hospital, so, you know, we have to have sympathy. My name is Denise, and I was diagnosed with stage 1C ovarian cancer back in November 2009. I also had a total abdominal hysterectomy. I had chemotherapy. This was at the end of 2009. I had my first chemotherapy right after New Year's. Happy New Year. I had 4 rounds of it. It was kind of miserable, but, you know, I read about what to expect, and sure enough, yeah, I got it. But, you know, it's okay. I looked upon it as, okay, I'm in a nice room. You can order whatever you want to. And the nurses were so nice and so cool. I said, okay, I'm in good hands here. I'm not used to having someone take care of me. I was a caregiver for my father, my mother, and my sister, who have all passed away. I was always doing for them. So to have some of my family members to do for me and friends is like, wait a second, something's wrong here. I'm used to doing for other people. I'm used to running around doing errands, but I just had to sit still and just take it and just deal with being served breakfast and deal with somebody going to the store for me and washing my clothes. I'm like, okay, I think I can handle this pretty well. But I had very good support from my family and my friends. As Mary mentioned, I'm an employee here at MSK, 9 years. I'm in the Department of Urology, and I'm a research study assistant. And one of my duties is actually talking to patients with cancer. So I'm like, okay, how is it that I had cancer and I have to speak to people about cancer? But you know something? It wasn't that hard. It really wasn't. You have the empathy for people. I always did too, because my father had cancer, but you put yourself in their place. It's like, I understand what they're feeling when someone says, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to answer your questions. I don't want to do this. No problem, no problem. I'll call you another time. Don't ever call me. I said, no problem with that either. You know, I have no problem with that. I don't take it personally because they don't know me personally. So, you know, and then there are some saying, well, thank you. I spoke to one patient in particular, and she hadn't had checked up in 5 years. And I'm saying, well, why haven't you? I'm afraid of what they're going to tell me. And I said, well, wouldn't you be more relieved by finding out if there's nothing wrong, then worry about if something is? Because that worry leads to stress, and stress leads to all kinds of things. And she said, Denise, you got a point there. I think I'll go to the doctor. And I said, good, please don't wait. You got your doctor, call him right away. I did speak to her once since then, and she says, I did go and I'm fine. And I said, you know, that made my day, that I was able to help one person to do that. You know, I didn't start out doing that, but a lot of people don't want to talk about cancer. After I came back for my diagnosis 5 months later, I found out about the gynecological support group led by Key Marie Knowles, and I went there. And it's a wonderful forum because people are there. We're talking about our problems, whereas people have empathy for us. They can't be in our place unless you've actually been there. And it's like, yeah, that happened to me, or, oh, yeah, I get that too, or I have that feeling too. And it's really wonderful, and we meet once a month, and it really is a wonderful forum because you have to talk about what's going on with you. You have to talk about what's bothering you. It's a fear, but you get it out, and you feel so much better because that burden is really lifted. And, you know, Memorial Sloan Kettering has such a wonderful organization. We have the employee wellness, we have integrated medicines, and I take advantage of all of them. I said, I work here. Some people don't even take advantage of it. Why not? It's here for us. We work here. We have the privilege of all these wonderful things, and we don't have to pay. So that's the even better thing. But it really is good just being here and coming to, this is my 4th year coming here too, since I came back, and you've had wonderful speakers. I know Miss Miller's going to be fabulous too. I'm putting pressure on her. But it's going to be, it's good. It's the care you get from people. I've always seen myself as a positive person. I always try to lift people's spirits up, no matter how I feel. Because if I'm helping somebody feel better, I feel better. I was misery when I was home, but I always say that's today. Tomorrow I'll feel better. And the next day I might feel better. Not so much after chemo, but after those couple of days of misery, I start to feel better again. And I couldn't wait to get back to work because I wanted to feel like a person again. I wanted to feel normal. And I'm very happy that Dr. Basalga, you mentioned about the advancement of survivorship. When you mentioned exercise, I'm like, I'm taking advantage of that because I really need that. It's such an important thing because people really need this. And as MSK employees, we're supposed to be advocates to help other people. If we don't take advantage of things like that, then how can we, you know, tell somebody else something that we don't even know or experience? So that's about my story, and I thank you for being asked to be here. I'm not a public speaker, but I do like people, and if you know something good, you want to spread that something good. And something good is MSK. We'll keep up the good work. Thank you.
Well, she's going to be a tough act to follow. Good evening, everyone. My name is Richard Park, and with Memorial Sloan Kettering support, I've been kicking cancer's butt for 4 years now. When they asked me to speak for a few minutes today with you, I'd say, first and foremost, I was honored. Just hearing, obviously, Denise and Shawn's story today, but we're about to hear Shannon's, which is, her journey's been incredible. Wow. I never would have imagined that I'd be standing before you today, celebrating survivorship. I thought, what can I say in just a few minutes that could encapsulate everything that myself, my family, my loved ones, my friends, everything that, I've just been through over the last 4 years. And I wrangled with this over the last few weeks since Julia and the team asked me to do this, and it only dawned upon me this morning, if you could believe it. And it dawned upon me when I left home to go to work like I do every weekday, and I kissed my wife, Sunny, and I said, I love you. I told her I love you. It's something many of us say in passing to each other every day, to our loved ones and our friends and our family. It encapsulates in 3 words how we feel about each other and what that person means to us and the assurances that we bring to them by saying this. And I realized this morning, as I was thinking about what I would say to you, that if it wasn't for Dr. Jayton Shah and the team at Memorial Sloan Kettering saving my vocal cords that day 4 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to utter those 3 words I say to my wife every night and every morning. I was diagnosed with a late-stage form of thyroid carcinoma that had actually spread to my neck and to my vocal cords. Up until I was diagnosed and treated, I came to New York 10 years prior, like many of us, seeking fortune and success. And being in the finance industry, I was not immune to the required pursuit of money and the hubris that comes with that pursuit. Well, getting that diagnosis and spending 2 weeks here post-op and getting treated certainly changed that in me forever. I know that I'm one of the lucky ones. Cancer changes everyone it touches, and I'm certainly no exception. I remember promising myself that if the day would come that I'd be cancer-free, that I would grab life by the horns and I'd pursue everything that my heart told me to. And I've done that for the last 4 years. It gave me the courage to travel halfway around the world and find my wife, who I had met 13 years prior, and asking her to marry me. And it gave me the courage to live my life in a good way, and in a way that wasn't beholden to preordained views of success. I'm just so incredibly thankful to be here before you today in this celebration of survivorship. To all of you incredible folks at Memorial Sloan Kettering, I promise, just like you had my back 4 years ago, I got your back for the rest of my life. And for those of you that are going through this, Denise and with Shawn and with Shannon Miller, we are living testaments that there is hope. And that hope is certainly supercharged by every good thing that the people at Memorial Sloan Kettering are doing. And to you, Dr. Shah, I don't know if you're in the audience. If you are, raise your hand, please. If you are. Thank you so much for your incredible talent and for your dedication. Thanks to you, I get to tell Sunny, I love you every morning and every night and for the rest of my life. And to you, Dr. Shah, I got to tell you, man, I love you too. Thank you, everybody.